we begin. And first thing to do, I think, well, because we had 2 people missing last time, best to keep everybody connected with what happened last time. So, we started with everybody meeting back together in the main hall, or the main room, I guess, of the rest house. You know, taking a seat. From what you had paid the previous evening, I mean, a platter of food was just brought out immediately. Everything is covered. You overpaid for your stay. And so, Hersian finally back to consciousness with an aching, terrible headache. While you all met up together, Shad informed everybody of the information gleaned from the injured warrior from the previous evening, that Valdiras was not seen too far from where you are even now. A day's worth of travel by foot, right? And you had a cart. And the run-in with the noble's men that you have just passed. Ignis, you spoke to the bartender, or the owner, you could essentially say the proprietor of the rest house, and you asked about the payment, right? And if he would have a room on the way back, to which he said yes, he would provide rooms because you paid so well on the way back, so long as the rooms were available, right? Couldn't just hold them. Also, Shad, you secured a couple of large wooden barrels and some sacks to hold all of these regions that you were going to be looking for and attempting to secure. And so, you all set off, continuing your trip with an early start to the day. Mostly boring, Shad singing the Ballad of Alvin the entire time, much to the annoyance of those on the cart. But you continued forward regardless. Finally, it would seem you saw the first glimpses of Valdiras' presence. A massive songbird erupted from a tree. You were able to somehow draw its attention using a bit of food and got it to land in the cart. And it ate as you studied it. The creature typically was to be no bigger than, fitting essentially in the palm of a normal person's hand. But as you saw it now, it was massive, the size of a large owl. Eventually, the creature would fly off, and you would continue your journey. You would see signs of Valdiras' presence kind of grow. A massive growth of vegetation drawn in a long line. Even from a distance, you could see the signs of important regents and herbs, both medicinal and spellcasting. It seemed as though that you were ahead of the pack. Nobody had come for this stuff yet. It wasn't picked through. It looked fresh and untouched. When it was close enough, you would stop and finally kind of run down, collecting enough for an entire barrel packed full of these regions. Afterwards, despite having an additional barrel, as well as some sacks, if you would to use them, you decided to press forward, since the opportunity to even see a solemn, let alone interact with one of Valdiras' stature, was an incredibly rare. So, you pressed forward, rounding up a hill, and down in the valley below you could see a small stream with a massive beast hunched over, drinking and eating fish from it. Unsure of what to do, and this is kind of a little bit of a retcon because we didn't do it in the moment. I would say that Hersian and Escucho, the 2 of you, went scouting, looking for a potential spot to kind of pass without having to disrupt this beast. Ignis and Shad, however, the 2 of you inched closer. Seeing that it was heavily wounded, the 2 of you tried to step in and finish the creature off, just wanting to get past. Unfortunately, though, it pounced on you, ripping Ignis to shreds, and then turned, baring its fangs to Shad. Shad, you ran in, and as a last-ditch effort, kind of ignited yourself, the flames kind of bursting from your body, and then outward explosion, igniting the creature on fire. As it burned, it sunk its jaws into you, pulling you to the ground before it too became overwhelmed by the flames, burning as it slumped down dead. As the 2 of you were laid out on the ground, bleeding and holding on for dear life, the others would have arrived, just narrowly, with enough time to set you back to your feet. And that is where we begin, essentially, with Hersian and Escucho, you kind of running in to kind of save the day. Shad and Ignis two of them, thankfully not dying, but in a very kind of precarious situation physically. And so what you should do, the two of you, is give yourselves 1 HP to start with, both of you. And so...
one quick question.
What's up?
Like, the session before, so the one I was there, like I stumbled upon the murder in the safe house. Was this retconned or something, or like what?
No, it wasn't retconned. I just didn't think Escucha would share that information, although I could be wrong.
Yeah. Nah, it's fine. I just wanted to know if anything.
No,
On that front, because I would assume that he would be like discovered sometime.
Yeah, at least so far he hadn't been discovered, right? At least at the time of leaving and settling everything at the rest house. If there was any indication that the body had been discovered, it was not made present to anybody in the moment. So I think technically it could still be in the room, right? Until somebody disrupts it, kind of walks in. So, but for now, or at least up until now, at least through the morning before you left the rest house, nothing had happened in that regard. So as you all rush in, and yeah, actually there was a bit of something we learned with the actual rules as written resources. They had the two players actually had hero points, so they were able to make a heroic recovery, essentially just stop themselves from dying. But yeah, that is where we're at. So as the two of you rush in, you see Hercian and Escucho, the two of you, you see this massive Wolverine-like beast hunched over, kind of felled. Its body still burning a little bit, the hair on its corpse, sizzling and kind of leaving that like nasty kind of smell hanging in the air. And you see the two of Shad and Ignis both just kind of like obviously very heavily wounded and just basically kind of pulling themselves up,
Are they conscious?
Yeah, they are conscious. Yeah, in this situation, they would be conscious. Yeah. So, I'll also get some music going. Feel free to mute, etc.
Chat, Ignis, what happened? I thought we wanted to go down the
beast.
Are you alright?
The beast happened, and we're not alright. He's just like spitting blood between his teeth, and like, do we look like we're alright?
Is there more of these things?
Oh well, they very well could be. And there's another question from us. Where the feck have you two been?
We scouted the head, just like I said. We found the route which would take us past this wretched beast, but I think we should leave quickly, lest the smell draws in more creatures of its kind. And then we can look at your wounds. They do look like they need urgent treatment.
Yeah.
Well, I won't lie. Away sounds like a good direction.
So, one thing I want to ask, Ignis, if you could describe the two harsh wounds left on your body, both by the bear attack and now by the Wolverine. What does Ignis look like? What are the massive the wounds that are hampering him at this moment?
Most of it is just like, hang on. So I would say most of it is like internal. It's like it's mostly to his body. So it's like his armor is kind of dented, and like he's probably got like broken ribs, and like his hands and legs are probably fine. He's probably got like scratches and abrasions on his face and stuff.
Okay.
But most of it's not physically visible. But if he goes to remove his armor, you'll see like there's like it's
real rough. Okay.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Let's just say like massive internal bleeding and like broken ribs or something. Like he can move, but it's just
very tough.
Not gonna be pleasant.
Okay. And the same for Shad. Now, after having been ripped, kind of shredded by this Wolverine, what is the
Shad, with the build a bit like a toast rack on a lamppost. He's you wouldn't think he'd
Okay.
have enough blood to produce as much as he had, and you can't see his flesh, but you can see the oozing from out his clothing. His coat's looking a bit more ragged than it was when they started this journey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as you all meet back up, yeah, you do have a few options available to you. One is to essentially just turn tail, right? Finish gathering the regions that you would like, and essentially just start to make your way back to Valdiras. The second is the alternate path that Hercian and Escucho were able to find. Or the third, I guess, now is to just continue on the path now, since the beast is slain. You know, you can easily cross this small stream with the horses and just continue on your journey. Two of the paths lead forward. One leads back to Valdiras.
Yeah, I think I would strongly suggest we go to the stream nearby so we can treat your wounds while we discuss what we will do going forward.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
He's
Yeah.
just
So you
gonna
pull
limp over to the
Yeah, you pull over, or you pull up the wagon, giving the horses the ability to kind of drink and also water themselves. And so yeah, you kind of pull up right next to the stream. That's basically the path itself, the road that you've been traveling, crosses over the stream as well, right? So it's basically all of you, kind of like, basically just off the side, right, of the main road, up near the stream to take advantage of the water and clean your wounds and all that stuff.
Yeah, Chad, some of the local wildlife is very good at smelling blood. I think you should wash your clothes. I have some soap.
Foul stuff. Keeps the good humours away. Shad will cast the top level heal on himself, the 3-action one, if that's okay.
Okay.
But he'll get everyone within a 30-foot distance, so Ignis should benefit from this as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Sounds good.
So go ahead and no need for the fortitude. That's only for dead. So all you would just click is healing. Nice, solid 6 HP.
So 5 for me.
5 for you, indeed. Yeah.
And Escucho would like to borrow a healing kit and start to treat Chad as well.
Okay.
And that's why I did the heal, just in case this goes bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Escucho might be feeling a little spiteful, So let's see how it goes.
So okay, we all at 6.
It does work. That's
What's the best doctor around?
Yeah, so tired of seeing the way that they've done it and being around them for enough time to kind of get a decent hand on the rougher ways of of healing, and you're able to step right over and taking a bit of Shad's healer tools, bring them back up by an additional 7. So.
No, because it's not.
Oh, because it's not magical. Yeah, correct.
Because
so
it's not magical.
yes.
Yeah, I get the full 8 on that one.
Cool. All right. So.
Oh, will you look at that, Doctor? He even did it without a biting stick. It's very good.
I might have some talent. One quick glance at the directness of Ignis.
Yeah. So.
Good for you.
Is Ignis brave enough for Shad to do that to him?
Darcy, I will take care of Ignis at the same time.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead and make the same roll, Hercian. Attempting to heal Ignis's wounds. It works, and yeah, Ignis. An additional 12 is restored on your person as well. Hercian takes a bit of the gauze and stuff, right? Kind of wraps it around certain wounds. Maybe puts a bit of
Do we get that from Shad's heal or no? I'm confused about that. sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
so
was
you-
an AoE.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
6 plus 12.
Yeah, 18 total.
18. Wow.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, you spend about 10 minutes, right, to do all of this, take care of your the others. I think the two would still look a bit rough, but if needed, could certainly travel, right? So as you kind of wait, right, to spend the
One
time.
question:
Go ahead.
Did they follow my suggestion to like wash their clothes, to wash the
Oh.
blood away and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ignis is gonna take off his armor and then just like get some bandage, like just to patch up his body, I guess. Like,
Yeah. Shad will rinse his coat out, but that's as far as he goes.
All right. So take about 10 minutes, right, to kind of figure things out. And while you're waiting, right, at the very least, if you're going to give it another round of healing checks to see if you can kind of restore the two wounded warriors a bit more, as you all kind of sit around. Shad's cleaning himself off, Ignis as well. You still have about a bit of an hour's wait before you can kind of really,
We gotta wait to see how much our current healing's done.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of like waiting, right? Like they're slowly. I guess like the best way to kind of describe it is like you've made the check, but the total hit points are kind of like restored over that hour's time, right? So, as you wait, to see, you are. What do you discuss?
Well,
Well,
everyone,
boys, how about we load up these barrels and sacks and GTFO?
Yeah, I think we have completed our mission with that. I see no reason to go much further.
I want to say we should, but you know what? Going further is probably going to be pushing our luck. So, yeah, I'm agreeable to heading back towards the city.
All right. Herson?
Like he's just gritting his teeth. Like he doesn't want to go back, but he's just like, you know what? I'm definitely gonna die if I keep going. So he's just...
yeah. Either by wildlife or by your companions unhealing you.
Oh no, but my companion's healing me. Like we've seen how that goes. We're just
Yeah.
like heals away from fully dying.
Mhm.
Okay. So, as the hour kind of passes, discussing exactly which way to go.
And their wounded condition is removed as well, right?
No, I
We
homebrewed
wish.
that out. Yeah, wounded will
Oh, yeah,
take like a week's rest to remove a wound. So, yeah, the intention is that you technically keep the wound unless you play like a longer scope kind of game, campaign, right? But since this is more, yeah. But so, as you're waiting, right? Kind of, you've made your checks. Everybody's kind of washing out their clothing and their armor and stuff like that. I need the four of you to give me perception checks.
There we go.
Perception.
Jesus Christ.
Hey.
All right, let me full robotic 1 second. There we go. Okay. So, Escucho, Ignis, and Shad, the three of you are basically dead set focused on, either healing yourselves, taking care of your clothing, what have you. Hercian, I mean, you feel perfectly fine, right? You haven't been injured, and actually, when you approached, when Shad kind of cast that spell, you were in that range, right? So you were able to kind of take advantage of the, the bit of healing as well. So you feel top shape. I'm gonna say while the others are kind of focused on something else, you're the first to kind of pick up the sound of marching boots, right? Many feet are approaching. They're not running or anything like that. It's like a forced march essentially, right? Like all in unison, kind of stepping, and you hear it coming not from the back, heading back to Valdiras, but you hear it coming forward. And I'm going to say, because you're basically in a valley, right? Both sides have kind of hills that loom over them. And I'll say that you're the first to see a troop of warriors start to come over the opposite hill's side. They're carrying banners, they have weaponry. They definitely look like warriors of some sort, and they are all in march. There's about 4 to 5. It's 5 of them in width, and they just take up the entire road, and they are marching along it. So
there's a large tribe moving up over there. As he kind of points out towards it.
Yeah, and with a quick glance, I mean, all 4 of you would see, right? These warriors kind of cresting over the hill and starting to make their way down to the valley where you are.
How deep is like the stream or the river we are at?
Oh, it's very shallow. It's not like, it's probably just enough. Like if you were to lay flat in it, it would probably cover you, but obviously be very visible,
And is there any like foliage or like any trees or something?
Yeah,
like that
all
nearby?
around. Yeah.
And I would like to quickly climb up a tree.
Okay. Yeah. Quickly.
And hide myself in it.
Fair enough. Yeah, you quickly jump up into a tree, right? Kind of make your way up. What are the others doing? Just kind of. I mean, you're injured. You're hurt.
Chad, very stiffly, is going to start digging a hole.
Okay.
Doctor, what are you doing?
And Ignis.
So I don't know. He's just gonna be like he's still recovering at this point. So Ignis is just gonna be notice it and just see if he can perceive anything he knows or any insignia or anything.
Yeah,
that's
still
similar.
basically sitting on your ass, right? Just fuck it, right? At this point, right? Like fuck,
Most he's gonna do is just like stand and just like lean on his sword. That's all he's gonna do at this point.
Fair enough.
Just
Okay.
lean on his sword and just like brace himself.
Yeah, and the warriors continue to kind of stream over the hill, kind of cresting, coming down. Their ranks are deep, right? I mean, they are, even as they start, basically, even when they're within like 20 to 30 feet just across the stream from you all, you can still see others kind of continuing to pour over. So this is a long marching line of warriors. And as they start to come, they are on the opposite side of the stream. And basically when they meet there, that's kind of when they break for a bit, and you can see a lot of them kind of breaking rank to kind of come down to the stream and start filling up, their water skins and all of that. They seem to notice you, at least the 3 of you. Obviously they don't notice Escucho who's hidden up a tree, but for the rest of you, they notice you from a distance. Like they just kind of give you a look. A few of the warriors just kind of give you like assuring nods, right? But they're all kind of focused on refilling their water skins and stuff like that.
And Chad will take 5 minutes and lean on his shovel and just give him a cheery sort of casual salute wave while he has a breathe and then go back to digging his hole.
Yeah, fair enough. Continue to dig the hole. You'll see one of the warriors kind of approach another who's a bit more, what's the word? Like regal, I guess, in his appearance, right? He's got a bit nicer clothing, right? Better armor. One of the warriors kind of approach and kind of say something to him, and he points over to the 3 of you, and that more kind of almost like officer looking character will kind of glance over and then just start to cross the stream, basically. And as he reaches about the halfway point, he'll kind of hail you, right, with his arms out, and he is speaking proper Valdiran. So I think everybody here speaks it, so that's not an issue. But he'll kind of call out how are you, travelers? You seem to be. You seem to look in a sorts of. Well, you look in a state. Is there anything we can help you with?
Oh, it's very good for you to ask, sir. I wouldn't like to trouble you. We're a pretty handy bunch ourselves, and we'll get there. But we just came across this frightful beastie over there. You're the one that's smoldering.
He kind of looks at it. I see. Are you sure? I mean, we have some healing supplies. We could certainly take a look at the wounds that you have.
Ignis is gonna raise his hand. He's gonna be like, yes. It would be a great courtesy, at least for some of us.
Well, that's very kind of you, sir. And who am I to look a gift horse in the mouth?
Fair enough. Well, it's an interesting attire that you wear, and he kind of motions, and what he's actually referring to is your mask, Shad. But as he does so, he'll kind of turn and kind of put his fingers in his mouth, and kind of whistle loudly, and a few of them will rush over, and they'll come up, and as they cross as well, stepping over the water, they'll approach, and so will the kind of the more commander-looking individual who'll kind of continue to cross until he's basically standing like right within the group, and they'll come over and they will treat you to. Let me find it. Sorry. So they will treat you each. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. While you're looking, you mentioned like banners or like
yeah.
Yeah. Like, do I recognize, or does Escucho recognize banner?
At first glance, I'm gonna say no, but you can make a check to see if it strikes any memory that you have.
Yeah. What check?
It would be probably a society check, I would say, or some sort of knowledge check. Probably make the argument there. Wow, natural 20. Jesus.
Nice.
Man, that's basically what you would have needed to get this. Actually, it's literally what you needed. Yeah. So actually, as you look at this group, each of them wears armor that is a bit familiar to you at the very least. They don't look very. They don't look on first glance like a very well put together band of warriors, right? But as you take a look at the banner, this is very old. How you would have come across this information, I can't even begin to think. But looking at that banner, that is something from a time in long past. It is the banner of the Vandal Order. This is a mercenary company that in its time, way back in the day, served a solemn known as the Pale Queen. And so again, this is very old. The Pale Queen was a solemn in many years past. So this would be like maybe a historical book that you would have come across it, or maybe somebody from your group would have had some sort of interactions with them, like an elder, right, of the group that you were with, would have had this information and kind of told it to you. The Pale Queen was an awful solemn, essentially like a terrible ruler who would look to just, wipe out anything and everything in front of them. And they had a band of warriors around them that they commanded, known as the Vandal Order. All these individuals carry that banner, and none of them look as though that they could be of the appropriate age to have been followers in their time. So, a little weird in that regard. But there is a connection there. With a 20. So with a natural 20 like this makes it basically a critical success on this. So I'll give you a little bit more information. That information being that, so Valdis is a solemn, and in connection to him, or storied with him, is Trist, who is also the Pale Queen. It is said that the coffin that Valdis drags around is where the body of Trist rests, and Valdis is dragging her because he is attempting to find a good place to bury her, a place that he's allowed to essentially lay her to rest. So yeah, that is everything, and I will roll it for you, but the two of you, Ignis and Shad, are treated to 13 points. We'll just say each.
Wow.
So they come over and they have potions with them, and they'll just pass them over and allow you to drink them down and heal up. So
could you describe the person or the healers around Shad for me, please?
The healers around, everybody that you've seen now is human, right? None of them are of any other heritage. The eldest seems to be the one in lead, right? He was kind of come across and kind of offered this whole thing. The young healers that are helping, or that have brought over at least the healing potions, right, to kind of help out with the two of you, they're young. They couldn't be older than 18, maybe 19 at the max. I mean, they look like all of 18 years, right?
Okay. Men, women?
Yeah, a mix. We'll say a mix. Right. Some men, some women.
Right. Well, in that case, the one that got closest to Shad, Shad's just gonna catch her. Would you mind if I asked you a question?
Sure. Kind of looks up at you, making notice of the mask.
Would you tell me? Are you tired?
Tired?
Oh, just you've been running through my mind all night.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Kind of take a step back. Okay. They'll just kind of give you the cold shoulder right that, like just kind of turn, I mean, you're kind of a really tall, thin person with a mask, right? And you're currently standing over a shovel, or, standing over a hole, like basically a grave that you dug. Yeah, so he... yeah, the one you try to speak to just kind of gives you a look, like taking in all this information, like, enjoy. Hope you feel better. And they'll just kind of turn. And even the commander kind of gives them a look, and they'll start to cross the stream back to their side. And at this point, you can see that they've definitely kind of crested over the hill. The entire group has kind of made basically like a small, not necessarily encampment, because they're not putting up tents or anything like that, but they're all basically taking a breather, right? Collecting water from the stream itself, and so the commander will kind of
Shadow'll call after us they retreat. Did it hurt? Tell me, did it hurt?
Yeah.
When you fell from heaven.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god.
They just disappear into the ranks of the warriors from the other side. But yeah, so the main kind of soldier who's kind of come over and spoken to the commander essentially. He kind of stands there. Where are you coming from? The three of you, are you coming from the city of Valdiras? What's got you this far out? It's quite dangerous to be traveling in such low numbers through these parts.
Well, we've discovered that several times over, to be honest.
It looks it.
We come from Valdiras.
Mm. How is
As
it?
my friend said, we're here for gathering some supplies. We'll be headed back shortly, to be honest. The road is actually quite. It's been a harsh road for us. He's gonna gesture at himself and at Chad, and some of us have taken significant injuries, so we're going to head back to the city and recover.
Indeed, you have. Just the three of
And
you.
he's gonna.
Kind of looks across.
It's a small party, to be honest. It's a small party. He's gonna reciprocate the question to him as well. Like, you're leading a large regiment out here. Is there an expedition? Are you headed towards the city or elsewhere?
Fucking message, Shad. Okay. So, sorry. He'll kind of look. You can see he's giving an eye. Like, I mean, he's kind of looking in the wagon, right? You know. I see. I suppose then you have come to take part in the gathering of Valdis's wake.
Ignis is just gonna nod.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
We are here for similar reasons, although not entirely the same. We have business with the Solemn. We have just come from seeing him. We are returning to the port, just making slow travels.
Was it a fruitful endeavor?
Indeed it was, yes. We are very lucky to have been able to bend the air of Valdis. He seems to be in a good mood, surprisingly. I mean, he kind of thinks, because he can see, I mean, basically the path that you've come has the stream. A lot of these like regions and stuff are kind of, you know, poured on down. You know, they basically cross the stream itself and continue onwards, basically from the direction that they came, right? I'm assuming there's quite a long bit of distance between here and, you know, there's plenty of pickings to say. Why have you come so far? I mean, he kind of gestures with his hands. I think you would have been able to fill both barrels, you know, unless it is your intent to travel back to. Well, no, you said Valdiras, right? So your intent is not Terius. So are you hoping to meet with the Solemn? He kind of asks flatly.
That had been one of our intentions. But honestly, we've suffered a bit too much to expect that further journey will be advantageous. I don't know. We could say we're cutting our losses at this point.
I would say survivable.
I see. It's a shame. I mean, he's simply just over that ridge, kind of gestures with his hands the way that they came.
Just over that ridge is. You just come. It's just been hours since you've met him then.
It has been minutes, I would say, since we left. Less than an hour.
Ignis is gonna look over at Chad and Hercian and go, you know, there's still time.
Oh shit, boys! He's giving us those puppy dog eyes. Oh, I can barely look.
I'm. If it is your intent to just finish gathering and head back to the city, it would be, you know. He kind of looks. It would be quite a prosperous return should you return with everything you've gathered so far. Just saying, you know. He just kind of stretches. Well, I think they've had enough of a break. We are going to continue ours. Good to meet you all. Kind of puts his hand out for anybody to shake it.
I understand, I'll shake.
I'll shake it. I kind of looks you over and like, looks a little like he's kind of I don't want to say put off, but he's a little. You can see you've caught his interest in a way, right? So you kind of look, okay. Well then, safe travels, regardless of your decisions to come, and maybe we'll see you on the path back to Valdiras. He kind of gives you a nod, turns his back to you, makes his way across, and you're gonna see as he stands, like he's like, "All right, that's enough," you know. And immediately they all jump into gear. Go ahead and all four of you make me another perception check in this moment, because this is. It's kind of playing off.
Ooh.
Okay, so everybody rolled greatly here. Okay, I'm going to start with this Cucho, specifically because you had the natural 20 last time. This kind of builds on that. The way these warriors move and jump into, like, essentially jump right into focus. Despite how young, because you can see so many young faces amongst them, they seem to be insanely well, both responsive to orders, right? So they're well trained. But I mean, this looks like a band of warriors that is like very well trained, and it doesn't, to the naked eye, it is a bit of a weird thing to see because of how young, right? Because seeing so many young individuals like this, seeing so many like younger, you would expect some sort of like, you know, like just these look like veterans, right? Long-time veterans, which doesn't match up to the visual appearance of them. Even the commander is a bit young looking, right? Like, couldn't be, at a quick glance, maybe early 30s, late 20s, right? So
Looking inside the crowd and the people, are they scarred, or have they all like pristine skin?
Pristine skin. They do not look wounded. They do not look hurt. I mean, they look young, vibrant, you know, full of life, like a fresh batch of recruits, right? That took, you know, only those of age to become warriors. But the way they move, the way they immediately jump to the attention of their commander and fall back into rank and immediately kind of start marching, they move like long-term veterans. So that's for Escucho. Basically, the kind of the same thing for both Shad, Ignis. Well, no, actually for Ignis and Hersian. That's a quick glance. That's like a little weird, because the ones that came across that helped, especially Ignis, right? And I guess the one that Shad tried to talk up a bit, right? They look super young. They couldn't be older than, you know. But they fall right into line. So it's a bit of like a, you weren't expecting that sort of feeling, right?
Their armor and everything is also like brand new looking, or does it seem to be done, or
so
their armor, gear, that kind of stuff? Like, we know they look young, but they act like they're very disciplined and well ordered.
Yeah.
Like,
so
their physical equipment.
I'm gonna give that one to Chad because that's the benefit of the natural 20, right?
Right.
So yeah, looking at them, I mean, some of them definitely look like they have got newer armor, but a lot of them are wearing like very worn armor, right? Like their father's armor, right? A lot of it is of old style, right? Like classical armor, essentially, right? Like even armor that is no longer kind of created in this way, both metal and leather, right? That's specifically what you see, Shad, as you take a look at him.
With that, are they got any embellishments, any tokens, anything that suggests that what interest they may like to talk about on in their free time?
On an interpersonal level, it's just, so a few of them have what you can remark as like personal, almost like trinkets and maybe like medallions of some sort, right? Some of them look very old. Some of them don't even look like of this region, right? Because I'm going to say you kind of see them as they start to cross the river. They're marching, so they're basically marching right past you. So you can kind of like watch them march along the road with their commander, who kind of steps near to the side, and he's kind of, giving you all nods, and just kind of seems like he's going to let them pass and essentially continue along. So, but yeah, a lot of them have like trinkets, like little things adorning their armor. Some of it looks very old, right? That's kind of like in line with their their father's father type of armor sort of situation. But as far as interpersonal stuff, I don't know about that, dude. so they start to march past. The commander kind of gives you one final nod as the last rank passes by, and then he will fall in line behind them. And you can see he's kind of spouting off, yelling at them like, all right, continue our path, etc., etc. So they start to make their way up. Go ahead, Shad.
Shad will call after him. I'm very tempted to follow you because my parents always told me to follow my dreams.
He turns and looks to you all. Looks to you specifically. So this is the commander that you've said this to.
Gonna give him a sort of like a shy little wave, wiggling his fingers.
Yeah. The commander will call back. Feel free to fall in line. Kind of give you a smirk and then turn and continue on with his warriors. So as they pass, they've drank up much of the, they've gotten their fill of water skins. They've had their, quick little break, and you've all been healed, or at least given a potion that you've been able to take and kind of revitalize yourselves. So, Escucho, seeing this band of warriors, right, kind of like come and go, finally gone now.
When they are gone, I would slide down the tree and address the group. So skies, I think they are servants of the Pale Queen.
This means nothing to nobody else. Yeah, this means literally nothing.
Out here?
Well,
They look more like soldiers than servants to me.
Well, depending on the times, soldiers are the best of servants you could ever want. And when the time of the Pale Queen is around, then that's doubly true. I think they are trouble. Or they are a sign of trouble, at least. If they revived her or something. And,
Are they trouble for us on our way back? To deal with the immediate issue here.
I wouldn't think so, but something to be cautious about, especially as the Solemn is concerned.
This is information you can trade for something valuable when we get to the city. So you can write a note of it and then present it to someone when we reach Valdiras, I think.
Just to give a quick meta check, Escucho definitely believes that revival is possible, of course,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and when like the Pale Queen, from what he knows, like would return, like that would like be a big sign of trouble, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on the history, right? If she were to return and get back to her old habits, you'd probably be like, holy fuck, right? So, Shad.
Well, hold on now. You say something about a revival of a pale queen. Now, do you remember a couple of days back those fellas that we had to dispatch on the road in? You remember
The
that?
zombies.
You
The
remember
zombies.
that yon little squiggle that we found stamped upon him? The fellow that made that could do what you're saying.
But these guys, these soldiers didn't seem like undead, right? I mean, what we dealt with over there were dead people brought back to life.
I'm not talking about the soldiers. I'm talking about this pale queenie. If she's bad news, and I know he's bad news, that's bad news.
Flawless logic. We still physically have to get back before we die. Can we at least agree on that?
Are we going seeing this fella before we head back, or what? I'm tempted by his magic chickens.
I am tempted, but I think, well, there's 4 of us, so putting it to a vote, I'd be tempted to put it to a vote and see at this point.
Well, if he's not that far away, I don't mind going a bit further in that direction. These seem like nice boys.
Just an hour's walk there, and then go back. Shouldn't be that difficult as long as we don't leave our stuff unattended.
Yeah, let's take the wagon.
I think we take the wagon.
Yeah, we take the wagon. Slow trot. Besides, the horses could use the herbs. We'll get back faster that way.
So is it 3-1 technically? Oh, I was away for a couple minutes, so. But I think even now, right, it's still technically 3. Hersian, Ignis, and Shad, the 3 of you kind of agree to pop on over, since it's less than an hour by marching, right, as a large group, so, you know, how much further could it be by horse? Okay, so, you all jump into the cart, the wagon, feeling a bit revitalized from, you know, the interaction, been healed back up. You still got the wounds going, obviously that's a bit of a damper, but at the very least, you each feel, you know, pretty decent, I would assume, right? So
as we're going, can Ignis try to recall knowledge if he knows anything about the Pale Queen? Like if his lodge or if his order would have had any information?
yeah, make me a occultism check, probably, or whichever check you feel. Society, occultism, the arcana, all those might be okay to make the check. So
yeah, I'm okay with arcana and occultism because he's gonna lean at it from those angles. So I'll do occultism.
Occultism.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you try to rack your mind over it. You kind of think of Pale Queen, right? You're kind of going through it, going through the motions of it all, but you just can't place it. So, Carl, the 3 have decided, as they put it to a vote, the 3 of them want to head on over just to see, right? Because they're so close. They feel like, well, what could be the trouble? But how does Escucho feel about it?
Well, he's like visibly against it, but he just like stays like quiet.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's definitely like visible that he like really doesn't want to do that. That he doesn't like. He definitely respects the power of Solemns very much.
Yeah. Okay. So load in the wagon. Shad, you take a place away from the back of the wagon, right, just in case it bumps. And you start and climb up the opposite side of the hill. You crest on over. And what you see before you, as you crest on over, it seems like the path is basically clear. You look around, nothing, right? This group, this Vandal Order, I guess you could say, that that Escucho is familiar with, at least by name and by insignia. It seems they've cleared out whatever could have possibly been on the path, right? It looks open and fine, like a large plain. The tree line kind of skirts back, so there's nothing, even hiding. Everything is basically in full sight. And you can see the path, the familiar path that you've come to know as Valdiras' Wake, essentially, right? The massive amount of herbs and regents. You see here, though, that a lot of it has been pulled, right? A good chunk of it has been collected, assuming by the order of warriors that have just passed. So as you kind of crest over the hill and start your journey, doesn't take you long. Basically about 15-20 minutes, with the horses kind of pulling in tow. Give me perception checks. Off in the distance, I'm going to say, even without having to make the check, you'll see this, but depending on what the checks are, you might get a little bit more.
Oof.
Oh yeah, so what you see baseline, you see a large being, the long black, kind of like it just looks like fabric, essentially, kind of adorned in the shape of a bit of a kind of cloak, kind of hangs over, and you see this massive, basically like a giant figure, right, kind of sitting. There's a small little fire prepped in front of him, and you just see kind of off in the distance up ahead, he's sitting leaned close. You can see on the ground a large wooden coffin. At first glance, based on the size of this creature, everything around it, this is Valdiras. This is the Solemn that you've been looking for. And around him, all around him, and kind of even getting larger as you sit and wait, or as you see, that abundance of life is kind of growing around him in like a large, wide aura. For those who have hit above 15, so for Shad and Ignis, the two of you see a smaller, much smaller, normal human-sized figure. Black cloak, the same, obscured at this distance. You can't really clearly see them. But they are sitting up close, basically, on a small log that this camp has kind of been pulled up around. It seems like whoever they are, they're sitting and conversing with Valdiras. And for the 22, Escucho, as you look and you see this figure, what you can see that the others can't really spot is that although there is an abundance of life, every now and then there's like a slight pull where like some of it kind of wilts and then springs back up kind of instantly, almost like a pulse where it like goes down and then comes back up and goes down and kind of comes back up. You can see that, and that is happening right near like the inner ring, essentially, of where Valdiras is sitting. So you've got about, I want to say, like 150 feet between you and the being.
So now, Escuchos is shaking a little bit. So now you guys have seen them. Do we still need to stay?
Shad'll stand up on the back of the wagon. Hello, the road.
You kind of call out to them.
Escuchos hiding in its cloak at this,
Okay.
like pulling his hood over its face.
And then Ignis is just gonna be grumbling and just like getting the horses to slow down and to stop. Like, just of course.
Yeah, as you call out, Shad, you can see at a distance. I mean, the two figures kind of turn and look. They've got their eyes on you. You stop at this distance?
Maybe we stop the wagon and get off on head towards on foot, just as a sign of respect, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Ignis would, like, he's already like getting the horses to slow down. He's probably just gonna like get off and check to see if anyone else is coming. Before,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
If we do proceed, just maybe on foot, guys.
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, looking back, there's nobody coming back, and looking around, everything seems clear. I mean, you could easily just pull the horses to the side, give them a small spot in the grass where they can kind of eat while you approach. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that the horses are going to be eating pretty well, considering this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they'll be eating well, and then there's like every other minute or so they'll just have like a brief bout of like decay, and then they'll get back up on energy.
So, as you call out, Shad, the large figure will kind of raise his massive arm. It kind of comes out from underneath the black cloak and essentially just kind of wave you forward, like, hailing you as well from a distance. And so, you park, you jump off, and you start to make your way closer. Scooch, are you following them? Or are you just like, fuck that?
I think the curiosity gets the better of him, because
the
there might be, the process might be like if a revival was successful, that might be very, very interesting to him.
Fair enough. Okay.
Ignis is gonna very deliberately make sure that his sword is sheathed, so like he's not presenting himself as a threat.
Okay.
So he's gonna sheath his sword as he goes.
You jump off. You see, like, sheathed swords, essentially making yourselves appear as not a threat, I assume. So you start to close in. You get about halfway there. Shad, the smaller figure, sitting next to this massive giant like Solomon. There's a familiarity that hits you like a truck. Kind of stops you where you stand, right? You don't even want to take another step forward.
Would that be the kind of familiarity that would make him want to flee in absolute terror by any chance?
It could absolutely be that kind of familiarity.
Well, up until this point, Shad has been sort of
All
like
smiles.
half whistling,
Yeah.
half humming the Ballad of Alvin, and suddenly his step will falter and he will come to a slow stop and just be staring, holding his shovel, leaning on it, arm down to his side, and he's just stopped. Moment.
So,
But I'm guessing he can't quite put his finger on what's freaking him out.
yeah, I would say, right? But there's this like, maybe like a flash of a memory, right? Maybe it's the way this figure is sitting. You've seen it a number of times. The smaller figure. It's not the cloak, right? Although maybe in some ways it is, right? Long black cloak. There's just something familiar about it, but it's familiar in like the worst way.
Okay, the rest of the group carrying on past Shad while he's sort of faltered.
I'm gonna say Ignis notices and just slows down.
Has Chet like stopped completely, or has he just
Yeah.
like stopped
Oh yeah,
whistling?
yeah. Shad's stopped. His normal cheery persona is gone. He's just stood there at this moment, looking.
The cold sweat kind of settled in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
How close are we?
I'll say. So I said you were about 150. So we said about halfway is when you noticed. So probably about 75 feet, 70 feet.
You don't want to come ahead? What's wrong?
I don't rightly know. There's something about yon smaller fella there. Something unsettling.
Well, didn't you?
Everything about this is supposed to be unsettling. Shut up, man. Let's.
Yeah.
I'm not
and-
worried about the big fella. It's that smaller fella. I don't know what it is.
Well,
Shad
You-
kind of cowered up around most things and look somewhat intimidating. Come on.
yeah, aren't you the one who wants to talk to them? Go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Escucho is like slightly like pushing like go ahead, like this was your idea.
So, Chad is reluctantly going to start walking, but he's going to walk in that way that you do as a group of people when you're trying to shuffle yourself to the back of the group.
Yeah. Like you're continuing to move with the group, but you're like, kind of. Yeah, fair enough. And so you draw yourself closer. 75 feet becomes 50, and Valdiras, this massive figure, probably 9-10 feet, although hunched, so were he to stand at full, could be upwards of 12 feet tall, kind of hunched forward, kind of stands up to greet you as you come closer. And so, with this booming kind of super deep voice, that even like the sound of it kind of rattles the air around it, Valdiras will call out, "Hail, travelers. What news from the city?" And he waves his massive kind of club-like arm, like, come closer.
Are we close enough to see any more details on the other cloaked figure?
The other cloaked figure, they have their hood up, so their face is mostly obscured. I'm gonna say, at this point, Shad, being so nervous, the figure, which is kind of standing and not necessarily, no, sorry, it's sitting, basically kind of staring in the fire based on like the head placement and everything. But this figure looks up, right, and kind of takes in the forward view. You can't see the eyes, but you can see just below the face. Now it hits you, 100%. This is, right? This is the one that you ran from. This is, in many ways, your old,
Master.
old master. Yeah,
Master,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you do not get the immediate sense that they recognize you.
Well, this city is mostly as always, but there was rumor of abundance of herbs being around this area, which is why we have shown up.
Indeed. Yes,
Valdiras. Sorry. No, you can finish it. Or
No, you go ahead.
no, he was as Escucho speaks, he's just gonna add on at the end, like a little more formally, like Valdiras still stands. The city of laws is still the city of laws. the Gilded Hand rules. But if that is what you wanted to know, and we're here collecting, as my friend said, in your path there are, like, in your trail leaves reagents that are valuable for alchemy and other works, and that is what we were tasked to retrieve for the city. And our work was done, but we had a chance to cross your path and meet, and perhaps learn, if you would be kind enough to share any knowledge with us. And that brings us here. We will return in time to the City of Laws.
So,
when we are like pretty close right now, is the coffin open or is it closed? And does he still like drag it, or has his like arm around the chain, or is it like laying?
yeah, so there is essentially like a chain attached to the large coffin that kind of lays at the ground. The coffin, even at first glance, is a large coffin as well, like made for a larger figure. As you take a look at it, it moves a little. It kind of rattles momentarily. And that kind of catches you off guard. The coffin itself kind of rattles and shakes momentarily, and then kind of stops. Valdez kind of just gives it a quick look and then turns his focus back to the four of you. Well, feel free to sit in. And he kind of pulls you over, like, draws you next to the fire.
Before that, I have a quick question. Some nights ago, me and some people I talked to have seen a specific dream. A red star? It was red. What's
green.
red? Or?
Green, I
It's
think it's green.
Yeah. A green star, like lighting up the night. Many people have seen it, as I've seen it. While I've made my own conclusions, I was wondering if you know more. And while he asked that, Escucho would, like, he's still obviously stressed, but he would like try to sit and calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, and he would wave his hand, and as you kind of come in, you all kind of sit around the fire. Shad, you you would essentially sit as far away from the smaller figure as you could. So basically just like almost directly opposite across the way. And so as you all kind of come in, you all sit around the fire. Valdez kind of in that same kind of booming, like air rattling voice. I have some thoughts. I would. You are the first to ask me, so it is an interest of mine to discuss this. And so you all kind of join around the fire. Valdez will kind of sit down heavily against it's basically a whole tree that has been kind of pulled from the ground, and he kind of sits on it. As you all take a seat, the coffin will rattle again, right? Like, just kind of shake a bit. And Valdez will kind of look to the smaller figure, who will just give him like a nod. Go ahead, Shad.
Shad will look at the coffin and says, "We met a fella that had crossed your path a while ago. He was adamant he had some chickens in that box. What kind of fowl do you drag around in that?"
Valdez will kind of laugh.
He seemed terrified of chickens as well.
No chickens in that box. No. And he kind of You can see his features. I mean, he looks like a human essentially, right? He just got a he looks like a half giant almost, right? Just a huge, large kind of figure. But his features are very, for his size. I mean, very kind of soft, right? He doesn't have like some massive kind of blockhead. He's got like a normal proportioned. If he were of a normal human size, you would say he's probably thin a bit, right? Like a little bit, sunken cheeked, right? Sharp jaw, not necessarily like a blockhead, essentially. Like I said, he just kind of looks at you. He's got long black hair that kind of you can see from underneath the cloak, and he'll actually kind of grab a hold of his and kind of brush it out of the way, so you actually see his full face. And he looks just like a very grim expression. But he will kind of laugh at the mention of chickens and kind of look to the coffin itself. No chickens in there.
Oh, that's a shame. I would have put a bid in for some fine magic chickens, but I guess I was misinformed.
Would you like to see?
Why, that seems like a fine offer indeed. I would not mind taking a look.
He kind of chuckles and looks down to the smaller figure, who will shoot a look to you, Shad. Give me a perception check.
Okay. There it is.
Oh.
Hey, it was bound to happen.
But
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a grand adventure.
You hear a voice that you have not heard in quite some time break out from underneath the hood of the smaller second figure. And it's like a voice that kind of cuts like ice, essentially, right through you. It calls out across the fire. Why does your voice sound so familiar? And they kind of step up. It's them. And they kind of, you can see their hands don't necessarily they're kind of hidden by the cloak, but as they draw their arm forward, right, you'll see the familiar. This hand is not human in the least bit. Almost like a clawed figure. The long fingers kind of reaching out to a very pointed, sharp end. This is the hand of your old master, Shad. And they kind of show it momentarily as they reach up and pull the hood of their cloak back as it kind of falls on the corners. It kind of falls off onto his shoulders. You see in full clear view the face of your old master, and he is staring right at you, and the feeling that you get is that he is looking right through that mask that you are wearing.
Oh shit, there you are.
Valdiras will just kind of put his hand out, kind of stopping this interaction and boding for your old master to sit down, essentially. And they will. And they'll sit down. And you'll kind of look across to Escucho. So, the arrival of the hungering star, the dream that you all had, is a sign.
Is it a sign of his return? Sculpture asks, obviously, hopefully.
He kind of furrows his brow at his return. It is a sign of great change to come. His return. I'm not sure of what you ask, but if there is a belief of your own in your past, then it may be a sign of that.
Yeah, and with this, like, Sculpture's eyes, like, ignite in fervor. And, yeah.
The slumbering ones return. It is their time now. And he kind of looks down at the coffin as he's saying this. And then kind of back up.
So it becomes time for us to serve once more. Sculpture asks, like, not directly at him, but like sort of in the air.
Yeah. He'll kind of think it over. If that is your destiny, then it may be. I'm unsure of what you were asking about specifically, but maybe. Great change is coming to Ekros.
Do the slumbering ones oppose those of power such as yourself?
No. They are just...
Are they people, or are they... Do they come from beyond the veil?
Yeah. So as you kind of ask this stuff, he says something to you, but as he says it out loud, to you it is just like a... Right? It's just like a something you could not understand even if you had like a spell of some sort to try and understand what he's saying. It is just like almost like gibberish, but it's almost like it's like a... Whatever he is saying, it is something that you cannot even comprehend hearing. But then you see him kind of stop speaking and he kind of like realizes what he's doing. And you'll kind of look to the small one. The small one will kind of speak out to you. And this has the same effect, that same like cutting ice as you hear the voice. Now they're talking to you specifically, Ignis. They are beings of a distant past who in their time required rest, and now they return. And Valdiras will just kind of shake his head like in agreement, essentially.
When will they return? When will its time come?
Valdiras
Will
kind
it
of
finally be?
Valdiras kind of looks up at the sky, basically in the direction where if you were a sky gazer, right, a stargazer, you would kind of know that he's looking in the direction of where the hungering star hangs in the sky. Even though it's not night, right? It kind of just looks in that direction. Very soon. A matter of days.
When you say change can mean ruin and destruction, and it can mean good things as well. But when you speak of beings of immense power who are now awakening, I can't help but think that there's going to be much destruction and suffering.
It could be.
Dukan fell recently, and was that something that tied into this?
He says another word, and again, this like cannot comprehend it, right? So, what he's saying, the way you know this works with solemns, right? If they are if they're saying something or something that like is knowledge learned from their time beyond the veil, right? It cannot be comprehended by anybody but other solemns, essentially, right? That is like the known thing. So as as he says, like an affirmation to your question, he says something, a name, a word, something, right? But whatever he says is just incomprehensible. But he does shake his head. Yes, the being in Dukan is an awakened one.
Ignis, I'm sure you don't have to worry. When his time will come, we will all feel his embrace, and it will all turn out right.
Yeah.
Dukan felt the embrace of fire. I'm not entirely certain that destiny bodes well for a lot of people. He's gonna say this quietly, like just not too loudly, but just.
Yeah, it's crucial, by the way, like not very like really listening to the conversation. He's just like he's very into it.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, Ignis is replying. He's just like quirking a brow, like.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like, this guy,
Okay, man.
Skujo's very much like, oh yeah, fucking like,
Yeah, let's
whoa.
fucking go.
Yeah.
The distraction!
Yeah.
The end of times, it's coming. Let's
Yes,
go.
Actually-
yes.
He had what's it called? He made a stencil or a copy of the rune, right? From the zombies from before.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to reach into his pack and like bring it up just so it's visible. He's gonna ask. We
shit.
nearly this might go badly, but you know what? we nearly died from revenants who were inscribed with this symbol on our path. They were blocking the way, I would say.
Yeah. Shad, I'll say this whole time, this figure, despite the momentary break where he spoke to Ignis in particular, his attention has come back straight onto you. And you know what Ignis is pulling out, right? You have an idea for like what now he's kind of talking about it. How are you reacting? Because you know that this symbol is of his making.
Well, Shad is visibly shaking at his master showing himself as he is, open. And as Ignis is talking about this rune, Shad's gonna start doing his oh shit.
Shit. Okay. His time is coming. Yeah. So as you kind of pull it out, right, the rune, Valdiras will kind of look at it and just kind of look to the other one. The small one will turn his attention to you and look down at the rune that has been inscribed, and there is a chuckle that escapes from him. Yes, you have run into some of my very own. That rune is of my making. What of it? Kind of challenging you on that. Do you have a problem with that, essentially?
Well, we didn't die, so there's that. Do you have many of your servants wandering the roads? Because if there are many of them, at some point there is going to be I'm sure, some kind of a formal response from the city.
My servants. One walks amongst you right now, and he kind of points with that strange clawed hand in the direction of Shad.
Oh, feck. Well, it's all on the table now, boys.
You. What?
Yeah, this figure will step up and kind of cross to the fire. The only thing that stops him from just coming right across is Valdiras kind of laying his hand out and holding essentially at the chest of this smaller creature. His hand just kind of covers the whole thing, right? Just kind of stops him from crossing essentially the fire. And he calls out to you, Shad. And how did you get away, little one?
Oh, well, you know how it is. I just came down from breakfast one morning to get on with the daily work, you know, the research, and I found my mates there, you know, with that dead-eyed stare, shambling around the place, and I ran like feck, you all-powerful master, sir.
Nice recovery.
Yeah. Yes.
I wasn't expecting to find you in this part of the world.
And yet you have. Run from me, and you were never a second thought on my mind. But it is amusing to me now to find you here, under tow.
Gonna go up for a bit of defiance now.
Okay.
Oh, well, it appears to be. I hope not the only one running. How come you're so far away from home?
A favor for a friend. And he looks up at Valdiras.
Well,
Should
that
I?
was very kind of you. He took his tail between his legs.
Maybe I should drag you home with me. And looks at you. Valdiras is like, for whatever reason, Valdiras is kind of like playing peacemaker here, right? Like, you know, like, hey, let's settle, let's calm our emotions.
Well, this one saved our lives a bunch of times. It would be a kindness if he stayed with us.
He kind of speaks up. Do not worry, Shadurin. You are of no import to me anymore. Your clan, your people, they have played their part. And they are finished. You, like the others, discarded. Do what you will. I have no use for you anymore. And he kind of waves his arm in your direction, turns his back to you, kind of sits down.
Shadow turns to Valdiras and goes, "It was very kind of you, and thank you very much for that. I'll take it in the way it was intended." You're arsehole.
Yeah. Figure we'll just kind of sit down. Valdiras will kind of speak up. Our emotions have gotten the better of us. Let us all relax for a time. Looks to you, Hersian. You are unfamiliar to me. Where are you from?
I am from the island of Rakatoa, off the coast of this continent.
People live there?
Yes, we do live.
Huh. Valdiras is kind of confused by that. Like, huh, right? Like it never occurred to him.
Yeah. I've been sent out here due to the recent rumors of dragons.
Dragons? Valdiras will laugh to this. There are no dragons. Not anymore.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you never met my mate Kevin's mother-in-law.
Out in the east, there's reports of a attack of some sort.
To the east. The Lock continent. I've just come from there. Well, recently. In any case, it has been a time. He kind of looks back to you, Skujo. The being in Dukan is an awakened one. The hungering star is an awakened one. So, whatever it is that you follow may also be an awakened one. I do not have particular knowledge of your master or whatever you may consider it, them, it. But with the arrival of the hungering star, I think that much change is coming to Ekros.
Yes, the great work might be complete soon. Have you any knowledge about Principe or Adril or any of the flowers? Scrooge was like visibly excited. Get shit done.
Yeah, he just kind of shakes his head. No, maybe to your disappointment. Like, no. But I'm sure that if it is their time, that they will be returning.
Oh, it's his time, and when his time comes, the flowers will bloom. I'm sure of it.
Nah. Maybe. Kind of looks around. So, you've come to take part in the herbs and regents that are grown in my wake. And he kind of motions with his hands. Feel free. You have it all here, available to you. It is of no concern for me, so I will not get in your way. Neither will my friend. And he kind of looks to the small one. You cannot see his face, the smaller one, but based on the way he's sitting, he's fuming in this moment. He is. You can just tell by his demeanor. He is fuming. You get the feeling that if Valdiras was not here, something else would be happening right in this moment. Yeah. So, it has been, as you wait, as you kind of all sit in silence, right, kind of ruminating on the moment, the coffin will shake again, right, right. Valdiras will look back to you, Shad. You would see what's within it.
Well, they say you only live once. Why
Okay.
not?
He steps up and he crosses over to it, and he gets down on one knee, and even him on one knee is like, well above taller than you, and he calls you forward, Shad.
And Shad will straighten himself up, and in his own anger and annoyance and frustration, especially with what was said about his tribe, he is going to straighten himself out. He's going to turn his back on his former master, and he's going to walk over to where Valdiras' box is.
Okay.
And he might let out a few nervous farts on the way.
Okay. While Shad is doing this, is anybody else doing the same?
It's Scrooge was just like mumbling and moving backs and forwards, like very excited right now.
Yeah.
He's just having a good time. He doesn't need to look inside any box.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, he puts his arm kind of around your shoulder, Shad, kind of like stopping you from moving back if you were to suddenly jump back, right? Kind of holding you there. Do not be afraid. And he will undo the locks, and he will slowly open it, and you see inside a woman chained inside of the coffin. Her arms are down at her side. She's clearly gone from this world. There is an open wound in her chest. You can see inside, you can see the meat and the flesh of the interior. And it's like the rib cage and the chest is just opened.
Is there anything here that would actually scare Shad at this moment in time? Because this seems like his meat and drink.
Yeah, well, as he holds it open, the figure suddenly lurches against the chains, right, and kind of moves the whole coffin itself in your direction as it lurches in your direction. But
sure,
it's
Shad will sort of like jerk with the start at that.
Yeah, and he'll just hold you into place, and you see a beautiful, pale-haired and skinned woman. Seems like a warrior of some sort. Has armor on all the way down, right? Inside the coffin there's a massive weapon, a large sword. Something about that pale queen thing that you heard previously. Kind of jumps to mind, like, oh fuck, right? This is that. But it is clearly undead and fighting against the chains that hold it inside the coffin. But just as he shows, you quickly close it and set the lock to it.
Oh, surely she must be an important figure to attract the attention of one such as you.
Indeed she is. Kind of
And
sighs.
is she a friend?
Is she a friend? There's a bit of sadness to this. He just kind of nods, you know. But you get the feeling that he is very, in a sense, he didn't mind kind of showing you her, but there is like a weight to his emotions.
Is there any? I was just wondering if I could run a perception, so I get. I met her. I've got an idea what's going on there, but could we roll a perception, see if
Sure.
Shad picks up on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where we get
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely emotional about it, right? I'll say that's clear. Like he's making no attempt to kind of hide it. You wouldn't even miss it, right? Just kind of looking up at him, you know. But very complex. So, you know, the minute details or the minute kind of emotions that he's kind of projecting here are a bit more difficult. Certainly emotional though, in like a down fashion. Yeah.
Shad will turn to him and says, "Well, I hope your plans come to pass, whichever way you wish. Even if you need to enlist the help of that bastard over there." Shad will look him in the eye.
Yeah.
As he says this. Just to sort of convey, he's being honest. He wishes the best for Valdis, even if he keeps poor company.
Ah, okay. I appreciate that. And he'll kind of turn and return back to his spot. So, with this, I'll say that what you wanted to do, Hercian, as far as gathering the herbs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
perfectly fine. And so, Valdis will kind of kind of get lost in thought as he sits and kind of stares into the fire. The small one next to him keeps his eyes trained on you, Shad. Valdis will kind of we do what we must for those that we and he kind of just trails off there. So, sitting around the solemn Valdis with his poor accompaniment in Shadurin's opinion, having gotten a few answers, what are you all now looking to do?
Well, I was about to get Shad to sort of like make excuses for us to be able to leave and GTFO.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
guys, we need to prepare. His time, it's coming. We need to be prepared. We need to leave now. Now. But it's good. Just like not like making an excuse. This is what he would like truly believes right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Shad, what's up?
Shad will turn to Valdis and says, "Oh, sir, you have been exquisite company, if I do say so. But we have pressing matters back in the city.
Mhm.
I do wish you ever so much the best. And I honestly hope you find better company at some point than that bastard there." And Shad will turn and walk away and go to the cart. Trying not to shake and shit himself.
Yeah, try not to. Yeah, make me a will.
Walking with that stiff gait of somebody holding the buttocks together.
Yeah, you know, you're just trying to get across. You say it, and you turn so fast to not even give them a chance to respond or anything, right? Like you're just, you know, you've turned their back and you're just moving on with it. And so, yeah, you do so. You make your way down, right, across, make your way back to the cart. Escucho, who's already kind of in this rampant fervor, is kind of, you know, rushed way back to the cart as well. Ignis and Hersian, how are the two of you leaving this space, essentially?
I don't know, just politely, deferentially, I guess. Like, he's gonna stand, offer a salute, or just like a tip of the virtual hat or something, and then make his way.
Yeah.
Just wish him, say that I hope you reach what you're looking for, and then make his way.
Safe travels back to the city.
After Hearthstone kind of gets, you know, enough herbs to kind of make a decent healer's kit, you know, kind of packs it all up into one of his very few pouches that he has.
Yeah.
Looks towards the two. And you're sure there's no dragons out east?
One cannot be sure of anything, but highly, highly unlikely, Valdis will say. And the small one will say, before you step away, and he's more saying it to Valdis than he is to you, kind of like in a lower tone, almost like he doesn't care to speak to you. But also you pick it up as you turn and start to make your way back to the wagon. Almost like a light whisper that you kind of pick up on. He'll tell Valdis, I wouldn't be so sure of that. And so,
safe travels. He'll kind of stop to say that for a moment and then walk a wee bit faster.
okay.
Realizing, yeah, no, he needs to, whatever's going on in a few days, probably going to hinder him from his travels to the east. He needs to get away, you know, a little bit faster.
Needs to get back. Yeah, get back now. Get your way, because the goal, right, is to fight a dragon or kill the dragon, right?
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So, you all load back up in the wagon. The horses have eaten plenty from Valdis's own kind of wake, and I'll say, at a quick glance as you approach, those horses are bigger. They're kind of the reins and the holdings that have on them that attach them to the wagon, essentially. Those are like almost at their limit with these creatures. Like, they are that big. They have grown in just a short amount of time. They have grown into, like, basically going from like a normal horse to a what are the, let's see, the Clydesdale, if you're familiar with what those horses are. They're massive horses. Very big. And so yeah, these horses have gone essentially from normal sized horse to a big horse in just a about an hour's worth of eating at the amongst the herbs that have been created and crafted by Valdis's very presence. So you jump atop the wagon and you go to rein in the horses and set them forward, and immediately they are off, and they are off at a pace that is very quick. Essentially, what it would seem like to you is the regular pace of a horse when you push it to run at its full speed. It seems like this is their trotting speed. They are just going, like they are rushing back. And so it takes you a moment. You almost kind of like completely unsuspecting of the sudden pull and power behind these horses as they start to rush forward. All four of you are kind of drawn, almost, tipped over the wagon for a moment, right? But you're able to keep a hold, and you are on your way back to Valdiras with these sudden supercharged horses, essentially pulling the way. So you crest over the hill, down the stream, the familiar one, right? The one you were just at, back up and back on the path towards Valdiras. About half of the day has been burned. There is still a couple of hours of sunlight left, and moving at the pace you are, you get the feeling that before evening is drawn, you will be back at the rest house. So you start pressing your way forward, and I think that is a good place to pause and pick up next time, as you will say that in this time you also collected the second barrel's worth of, right, the regents and stuff.
We able to, before we leave the wake, just pack everything, because we've got the barrels, we've got the sacks. We just
Okay, yeah, that'd be fine with me. Yeah, so you'd be able to fill up each of the sacks and fill up the two, we'll say 4 sacks and 2 barrels worth of the regents, both medicinal and spell casting.
Plus, we've probably all got pockets full as well.
I mean, yeah, if you're that desperate, yeah, for sure. Well, not desperate, if you're that, for sure, if you're trying to take as much as you can literally carry, yeah. So with a wagon full of very, very valuable regents and such, you start to make your way back to the city of Valdiras, hoping to at least reach the rest house in time to have some rooms and a decent bed to rest for the evening. And so we'll pause there. We'll pick up there next time, next week. So give me a few moments, sign out on the stream and everything, but I'll be back in just a sec. So all right, so yeah, unfortunate, all the lore drop and everything. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you have it was definitely fun. Big lore drop there, a whole lot of stuff I've been working on. I've been kind of waiting for the moment to kind of finally start giving out some of these hints on what's to come. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back tomorrow to continue our Wednesday campaign, Stagnant Waters. Well done for surviving that really easy session. 0 combat. Dude, there's been like 2 or 3 back to back, so yeah, I had to give him one, give him a nice lore roleplay one. And technically they got off harsher than if I had killed them. Sorry, they got off harsher than what I gave them for the whole thing. So Hey, it's a Pathfinder Second Edition thing. It's fucking heroic recovery. It puts them at 0. It puts them at not dying. So, and it would have taken away the wounds, but I still made them keep the wounds. So, you know, technically speaking, what I gave them was harsher than the actual oh yeah, I guess you could say the healing from the Vandal Order. Dude, that group is so cool. Oh my god. I'm hoping that the players picked up on what I was trying to give off there, but we'll see. But in any case, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to get involved, the best place to be is in our Discord. That is the place that I reach out first whenever I'm doing recruitment requests. So yeah, best place to be. In any case, go ahead. That'll be the place to be. We'll be back tomorrow. No. I'm just I just want to clear the air, so to speak. But in any case, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good day or a good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, guys. Later.